The abortion clinic was surrounded by God-fearing, church-going protesters. I believe in God, and I also believe in walking with the women who have made the difficult decision to have an abortion. And I encourage my congregation to do the same.
The protesters and their placards and signs are allowed to be on the same side of the street as the clinic because there is a sidewalk there. So when I showed up, I thought, my tax dollars are paying for you to stand on that sidewalk, and I don't care for that. Went directly to the police officer who's parked in the parking lot, and he told me that they actually do have a right to be on that public sidewalk. So that police officer in the parking lot is actually to provide safety for the clinic and the patients, but I have to say it ramps up the feeling when you pull in. So the patients have to drive between protesters trying to locate the entrance, between signs, while the protesters are shouting at all the cars coming in. They are effective at frightening the women, but they are not effective in changing their minds. And so I question the purpose. So anyway, when you arrive and you're pointed by a Peaceful Presence volunteer wearing a purple or orange vest and likely a member of our church, as a volunteer, you would park your car, sign in at the office, receive a vest, and then stand in the parking lot pointing cars where to park and greeting the women as they get out of their cars, then walking with them to the front door, offering them just a kind, compassionate face as the protesters continue to shout at them until they get inside. When I arrived to volunteer about 4 months ago, I was in my clerical collar this time. I was clear that I was coming to be a religious representation to the clinic side of the street. The volunteers of OKRCRC do not actively promote any church or religion, nor do I think they should, but I can. And so when I got out of the car that Friday, it was like I'd poked a bee's nest. I stood near the driveway entrance where the protesters had placed a CD player bearing Christian music, which I happened to know. And so I stood near it and sang quietly while they continued to shout. After about 20 minutes of shouting from afar while I stood singing to their music, one of the protesters came near the CD player and began to pray for me very loudly. As I stood quietly, he yelled, praying for my misdirection, praying for my false prophethood, praying for my broken soul. When he was finished, I realized not only how important my presence was for the women, but also for the big picture, for God, for my theology. Yes. And so I wanted those protesters to know that God was not that small, not limited to one side of this issue.